Okay, the time is 7:41. It's the 28th of February. I guess that makes it a Wednesday evening. I'm in St. Joseph's Nursing Home, Yonkers, New York, 127 South Broadway, room 509. Is 5509 is tells the difference between the nursing home and the hospital. They're both next to each other. They both have the same address, but they're different facilities. And since there's a fifth floor in the hospital and in the nursing home, I guess the nursing home is designated as 5509 instead of 509. I'm assuming that, don't know for certain. But I'm going to quickly try to go over my day's meals and explain this to anyone who would ever have to read this or see this. I have a problem. The problem is that the nursing home food and the hospital food here, as it is in almost every place in the United States probably, is a dangerous food. It's just dangerous food. It's common, ordinary American food, but common, ordinary American food is inherently dangerous. And what happens in the United States is a whole lot of well-meaning interests push themselves, and they do it in such a way so that we are culled or gulled or guiled into eating food that is not good for us, that creates serious health problems. And because all those involved in the food business all eat that same food, and nobody is wanting to go outside the norm and learn the truth and follow the truth and do what's best, we're all doing what is not best. So what happens is we eat this meal, and I'm going to go quickly over it so I can eat, because I have to wait every day here now until they bring me my 3 meals so that I can figure out what out of this I might try to eat so I can try not to poison myself and make myself sicker. And in my case, this is what happens. I have a problem that I have to not eat. I'll start this way and I'll go through it, and I hope someone will look at this and learn, and that benefit me. In 9th grade, I was taught in my biology class, and it's still true, that for every 200 micrograms of sodium I put into my body, I need to put 4,700 micrograms of potassium. I have to keep a balance. 200 sodium, 4,700 of potassium. If those numbers are wrong, it's because my recent reference on the phones and the internet gives me those numbers, and that's what I think they are thought to be. So Americans should eat a meal, all of our meals should be very high in potassium compared to sodium. But you have to keep a balance. You can't have 10,000 potassiums and 200 sodiums. If you increase the sodium, you need to increase the potassium. If you reduce the whatever, you got to keep them in balance at that percentage. If that's not the right one, we can find out what it is and we can maintain it. Every cell in the body has a cell wall, and there's something that I believe is called the potassium-sodium pump, or maybe they call it the sodium-potassium pump. And it's a little hole, I believe, that goes through the cell wall. The cell wall is a membrane, and this allows there's a sodium. There's liquids on the inside the cell, and there's liquids outside the cell, and these liquids have to have a certain percentage of potassium and sodium inside the cell and a certain outside. It may be different, it may be the same, but the point is this. These little holes are there so that this pump, I don't know if it's muscular or it's what it does, but it uses energy, and it keeps the balance correct in your body. And if you're putting the right amount of these percentages of these minerals in you, your body can function. And once it gets these percentages right on each side of the cell wall, then it doesn't have to pump. It doesn't have to use that energy up. And so, unfortunately, in most cases, our American diet has lots and lots of sodium and very little, if any, potassium. The few things that we do have that are popular that have, quote, potassium in them are potassium. They're not really high in potassium, but they have a lot of calories attached to them and sugars and other things that are not necessarily good for us. To be healthy, what a person needs to do, everyone needs to do, is to eat a nutrient-dense nutrients, dense minerals, dense vitamins, and calorie low meal. And that's what you need to eat. That's what you should eat. That's what's healthy to eat. And instead, in America, what we do is we have a diet that is sodium high, and potassium low, calorie high, sugar high. It's just the opposite. Now let's stop this. And everything here on these 5 trays is not healthy to eat. If I eat these 3 meals every day, what they want to do here to me is I have high blood pressure, and they want to give me medicine for high blood pressure, because the high blood pressure causes problems, heart problems, lung problems, when people end up old and on dialysis, they're on dialysis because they ate this food all their lives. We all eat it all our lives, and we won't do what we were taught to do. We're educated now. Anyone my age living in this country went to biology. You learned this basic fundamental biology. You can pick a biology book up anywhere and you can read it, including all the news people, all the elected people, everybody. But who knows this? Why don't we know this? And here I'm in a place that has people who are supposed to be professionals, dietitians. The dietitians apparently here don't understand basic science about diet. And they have a food place here, but I think it's a company that doesn't belong to the nursing home. It's paid separately to provide the food. I don't know how much they get paid per meal, but I'm going to try to remember to ask tomorrow at this meeting where they talk with the patients once a month about diet, about the food. And but there's nothing. If I was home, I wouldn't eat most of this stuff. There's a few things here I would eat. They probably have some other things here that I would eat, but I don't have a list of what they have. I have to guess and poke, and they don't have much time. So the whole place is run, whether it's intentional or not, in a way that conspires against me, to their benefit. It gives me food that keeps my high blood pressure high, so that I need a pill to take it to get it lower. And if I want to try and eat the diet that won't raise my blood pressure or make me healthy, I have to fight the nursing home to do it. I have to fight everyone. I can't do it. And since don't want to go blind again. I was blind 6 months ago from diabetic-related illness. But I have a unique problem because apparently I don't test high for sugar, but I have the diabetic retinopathy. I have other problems. Now, whether they're diagnosing it wrong is another issue. I'm not the doctor. I'm just saying what I was told and what I hear. But I know this. For me not to go blind again, I've got to be very, very careful what carbohydrates I eat and how many. And I have to limit them. And really, truthfully, I shouldn't eat any anyway. Because carbohydrates are not just bad for you. They really are you would list them as poisons if you understand that not all poisons just cause you to drop dead immediately. Some are slow-acting poisons, and some are poisonous in the sense that they're just not good for you. And let's see. This yogurt is not good for us if it's been pasteurized. This orange juice is never good for you. Listen to our video. We have a lot of little small videos where we go into these individual topics. This syrup is no good because it has high fructose corn syrup in it. This pineapple is good. I have 2 of them, thank God. If I didn't have that, I would have nothing here that I would want to eat that I should eat. These grapes are wonderful. But they gave them to me this morning for breakfast because they didn't give me any prunes. But I would never eat these grapes. I don't think I would. I'll see when I open. I would never eat a seedless grape. And 99% of the chance these are seedless grapes. I would never eat a seedless grape. I wouldn't eat a seedless watermelon. I don't want those things. They're not healthy. They're actually harmful to you, in my opinion. And I have plenty of people who agree with me. Oatmeal, I shouldn't eat because it has phytic acid in it that hasn't been cut or removed. If I was home, I'd make my own oatmeal, or I would be making teff for breakfast, but I would process it. I would do it in a way that the most of the phytic acid would be gone. I would eat teff because I need magnesium, and that's a good natural source of magnesium. A lot of magnesium, only a little bit of carbohydrates in teff. I don't know what oatmeal has, but as long as it has phytic acid in it, and no one has done anything to deal with that, and it's a poison. Here's eggs. Now, I would never personally, intentionally, any longer eat an egg or chicken or poultry, any bird that's raised in the United States. I wouldn't eat it. I do eat some once in a while because it's impossible to get any other type. But if I were home, I were eating right, I wouldn't eat it. I would never eat a pre-made waffle that has iron in it, rich with iron. It has aluminum in it, is raised with aluminum, and it has wheat in it, which is a poison. And the banana, forgive me, God bless her, the stupid dietitian here, when I tell her I need potassium, says, well, bananas have potassium. But a banana is a grain. It's a grain just like oats and wheat. And it's a seed. It's the seed. It's the seed of the banana plant. And the banana plant is not a tree. It's a stalk of grass. It's a grass like wheat or any other grain. And its seeds are the banana at the top. If you take a real good look at a banana from far away, plant, and you look at lots of other grains, it has a very similar look, except the seeds are bananas. I have no idea how much, if any, phytic acid is in the banana, but we'll go through that in another video. But I do know this. There's a lot of calories in here. I assume there's carbohydrates. Probably the healthiest thing on this banana is the skin, and we don't tend to eat the skin, and it would be not healthy to eat the skin because who knows who's touched it between the time, and how many roaches and mice have crawled over it from the time it was picked and come to the U.S. or wherever it came from. Now, sugar. Sugar is a poison. There's no salt here. I would like them to give me no salt at all in anything that they give me, and give me some salt so I can regulate how much I use and make sure I have it in balance between the salt and the potassium. And so that's the breakfast. Now, when they bring me my breakfast, I have to wait till they bring me my lunch, and I have to wait till they bring me my supper, so I can see what all the things are that I have an option of trying to eat. And then, because I can't rely on them, because they don't faithfully bring the things they're supposed to bring me, they don't let me pick what I'm going to eat. If they do, they don't bring it to me. Everything that they bring me tends to be something that's worse than what they could have bring me if they were trying, even had the least desire to give me something that I want, that's healthy for me. It also happens to be true that this is a part of my religion. What I eat is based on my religious beliefs. They're not my personal religious beliefs. It's the religion I belong to. I have plenty of documentation and otherwise studies, and I can happily show anyone in the Bible how we base this decision. So let's go down these items. I would never drink coffee. Coffee's a poison. We'll go through that in our little video on coffee. I would rather never eat pasteurized milk. If I was going to eat some pasteurized milk, I'd probably eat this lactate type. Pasteurized milk causes, very likely to be found out true in 1,000 years from now, or 100, that pasteurized milk is one of the things that causes autism or complicates it or has something to do with causing it. But they'll have lots of born autistic and there's scientific evidence that strongly supports this case, but it's rejected by the community that makes its money off of poisoning us through our food, and then making a fortune off of us as they're feeding us poisons as medicine, and they control them and make a fortune off of it, and an entire industry. So sugar is not the best thing for me. I'm a diabetic, and all the artificial sweeteners, all are harmful. The artificial sweeteners that are invented by man are all going to raise my blood pressure. They'll raise your blood pressure. And then these stupid scientists that in charge of the food and the medicine say, well, it just raises it a little bit, and we can take care of that with medicine. But this is these are like snake oil salesmen. And they'll make fun of snake oil salesmen all the time and use it to point out people who are bad. But I know some snake oil salespersons, and I'll tell you, there are some snake oils that actually work and work better than any medicine, and they're not harmful. But you don't know what they are. Your ancestors knew some of them, but you're not allowed to know what they are because the medical people can't control them and make a lot of money by selling them to you. Now, they give you these salad dressings, which are very high in calories. I'm trying to see if I can do it that you can read it, but I can't. But I'll just read it without showing it to you. This salad dressing has 140 fat calories in it, 190 calories, this bag. That's ridiculous. It's absurd. And the foods that it's made with, most of them are poisonous or harmful. The few things that seem like they're not poisonous, they give you the worst version of it, the worst choices of it in most cases. And so we'll go through that in another. Each of these topics we'll try to talk in a little short video, either about the product or about health issues, and hopefully anyone interested can learn it. The trouble with this whole internet thing is they take all your time, and you make you look at this ad and that ad. It's all a thing that it's not giving you. It's not user friendly, and it's not being done to help you. It's being done to help the persons that are doing it or someone that's paying them to do it at your expense. It'd be fine if they helped you and did all that and we got some benefit out of it. But you don't. And just like everything else in this sad world, whoever's got the most money, not the richest people that did well by succeeding in business by doing honest things, but these persons who are mostly progressive liberals who want to use the government and the laws to be able to rob from you and have it be considered moral instead of immoral. Now, this has a cucumber in it and it had a tomato. I took the tomato out, threw it to the side. Tomatoes are poisonous, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, so I don't want anyone suing me from tomato companies. But they're wrong. They're bad for you. And peppers and tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, and eggplants come from deadly nightshade. We'll go through that in another video. Cucumbers are good, especially if you eat some of the green part of it. I can't eat too much of it because I have very bad teeth because I ate wrong for all my life. Now I've learned how to eat right, but my teeth are already gone, so I can't. But you can eat differently, and you don't have to lose your teeth. We'll go into that in another video. What you need to eat to be healthy, you need a strong immune system. And you get a strong immune system by eating green, leafy, green, bright-colored vegetables. Iceberg lettuce is not a leafy, green, bright-colored vegetable. And you don't want to eat very much of that. Romaine is green and it's leafy, but it's not really what you're looking for. What you're really looking for are things like you find in salad mix and in things like that, because they're nutrient dense, calorie low, and you can't eat 2 cups of lettuce as salad. You can't eat 4 cups of salad. If you're not eating all the rest of this food, you need to eat a half a pound of salad because it fills you up. If you don't, then you're suffering with stress because you don't have enough food and you're hungry. And if you're going around hungry and you're hungry, not because there's not food, but because you can't eat the food because you realize it's going to hurt you. And being that I have heart trouble, I have a regurgitation in my left ventricle, I shouldn't have stress. But eating in this facility is a stress. It's such a stress. And all the things they do all together, instead of helping me, are harming me. And I intend to hold them accountable for it. I intend to call them on it and to try to bring this into the public view and make them pay. One, make them change what they're doing for your sake and my sake and all of our sakes. So that instead of doing this, they're doing something that's beneficial to all of us. And they're eating the same foods and following the same nonsense, and they're gonna have the same problems. Now there's these little packs of margarine. I don't eat margarine, but I do here, but I never eat margarine. I only eat butter if it's not been pasteurized. To pasteurize butter is stupid. If you understand about tuberculosis and pasteurization, you know that it's stupid. If you don't understand that it is. So here's rice. I wouldn't eat rice because it's a carbohydrate. And this is not, if I did eat rice, I would eat brown rice. But brown rice isn't healthy unless you soak it to remove the phytic acid that's in it. But that's not healthy because even the way they teach us to do it, you soak it, the phytic acid gets broken, but the way you process it, the phytic acid ends up laying on the food probably, and you eat it anyway. And whether it's been broken and it's released the minerals that it's holding or not is one thing, but once you put it in your gut and your stomach and it's going through and it's doing all these things, then it's very possible, maybe, that in your gut it will reabsorb these minerals, or even absorb them out of your meats and your proteins, that if they have them in it. And then instead of any of those minerals ever getting into your body and being used to benefit you, they just go out into the drought, as Jesus might have said, and then do you no benefit. It's not what you eat that matters. It matters what ends up in your body, in the cells, that your cells needs them to do things in your body, in your blood and everything. And if it's in there in a way that it can't use it, it's no good. Now, beets is nice. We'll eventually make a video on beets and watermelon skin. And we'll talk about that. That is very interesting, and we need to eat that. But this beets is vinegar pickled beets. Well, I would have pickled them with apple cider vinegar, not wine vinegar or whatever kind of vinegar they're using here. It's probably just plain vinegar, the cheapest. Which isn't. Sometimes the cheapest thing is the best, and sometimes it's the worst. So I don't go by what's the cheapest or the most expensive. I go by what's the need is and meet the need. So now the fish. You can't buy fish in the United States or anywhere in the world without being at risk of poisoning yourself with mercury poisoning. And that comes from the coal, some of the coal that's burned. If they don't burn it right and clean, the mercury comes up out of it and goes up into the sky. It becomes almost like floating in the air, or it's not air, it's not a gas, but it's in the air, and then it goes around the world, and it goes into the ocean. It falls down eventually, and then it's in the ocean, and it gets into the plankton. It gets into everything, and the fish eat it or they absorb it, and then the fish have mercury in them, and so you can't eat a fish today without a good strong likeliness that there's mercury in it. So why would you want to eat? Why would you want to eat mercury? Mercury is so poisonous. Now, we put mercury in our amalgam fillings in our teeth, and that harms us, but because it was beneficial to the industry to create the dentistry industry, then it was used. It's not healthy to have mercury in your body. How much mercury is safe? Well, the answer is 0. That's what's safe. But they think, well, a little won't hurt you. But that's a lie. But then they don't care because they eat it themselves. And they don't understand what they're doing. And they're not willing they'll make the facts their opinion, which isn't facts. There's some more oatmeal. I was having them give me oatmeal for every meal because all this time, every day, I'm having to struggle with them to try to figure out how I can be here and not die from starvation or not suffer from so much hunger that I'll go into it more another time, but everything here is stressful, and everything here is being done wrong. Everything. Well, no, not everything, but a lot of it. And it has to do with poor management. It has to do with the community not understanding, we as a society not understanding what we should be doing, and then making sure that it happens. And in the meantime, there's all this money changing hands that doesn't really benefit the persons for whom the money's changing hand for the reasons it is. And we've been all taught the truth about this, but we didn't learn it. You passed your biology test and you forgot everything that you learned. And our education system is really bad because nobody learns how to use their brain and think. They just learn how to be mechanical and memorize things for a short time to pass the test. You know, they should have 3 questions on every test, only 3. And they should give you 33 and a third points for each question. And they should be important questions that anyone who did all the studying would answer, and then they get 100. And the ones who didn't study so well or can't remember so well would get a 66. And then everyone else would get 33 or a 0. So that would be a good system. And anyone who got to 33 or the 0 would have to study it again and take another test, a different test, and until they get all 3 questions right. And to do that, they'd have to be able to think for themselves. They'd have to be able to learn the subject and remember it. And if they were given a test 6 months later in the same subject and didn't pass it, then they should get some help, because they're going to do otherwise they'll do like we do, and they'll eat all their life food that will kill them, having been able to know the difference and never bothering. Now, again, this is breaded, and the fish is breaded, and that's wheat, and that's grain, and it's phytic acid. The broccoli I would eat. Broccoli is terrible. And broccoli and the cauliflower I will eat because I don't have a choice. If I made broccoli and I made cauliflower, I would cook them very slightly. They're part of the cabbage family. I would love to eat cabbage, but if they give it to me here, it's going to be so much salt in it, which isn't necessary, that it's going to be dangerous. The cabbage juice without the salt isn't dangerous. Now, I don't use salt because I understand what salt is and how it works, and I know how to use lemon juice in place of salt and get the same benefit. I didn't used to ever use mayonnaise. For a long time, I used real cultured yogurt or sour cream in its place, but yogurt, a cultured yogurt, not a pasteurized yogurt. You don't want to eat any dairy product that's been pasteurized. And I can't tell you the whole reason why. I could never tell you the whole reason why, because then people would misunderstand what I'm saying, and it could become one of those things where which the media does all the time. People who are telling you something true, and the media is either too stupid to understand it, or they are purposely making a mockery of something to make sure everybody doesn't actually benefit from what's being taught and told. I'm going to cut this in a minute because I'm trying to keep these short. I didn't want it to go so long. I haven't said everything, but I will go into detail, and we will try before we leave here to give you a lot of information that if you listen to it, now you don't have to believe me and you don't have to agree with me. But I have a religion that requires me to eat a certain way. And I've been telling these people about it for 6 months. I've put it forth. I've tried to communicate with me. And everything that they do to run this place, like they did in another nursing home I was in once before, is driven for their benefit, that they're the center, that I'm here to benefit them by doing what they want me to do the way they want me to do it, even though it's dangerous for me and it's harmful. But it feeds them. It pays them to keep doing that. And then why don't they just get paid to do what's right and healthy? Why can't I have half a pound of not this iceberg lettuce and not romaine lettuce, but salad mix? I was going out to the store and buying it and bringing it back and making it for myself. But now they did all this other stuff on another video. You'll see it, where they took everything. They're not letting me do it. They're making me not do it, and they won't let me go out. They're doing everything against me, and they're doing it for their benefit. It's not patient-centric. Everybody in this nursing home is frustrated. No, everyone. Many persons are. The people who are not frustrated are the ones that are too out of life to even do anything or complain or worry, or not. They're just here laying in a bed being a source of income to the whole industry that runs this. Do you think that's right? I don't think it's right. Do you think I'm wrong? Well, then God bless you, think I'm wrong. But I'll tell you what, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you and everyone, all of us, because eventually your taxes are paying for all this, and it's a big waste. $300 a day is what I think they get paid for me to be here from your money, and I think that's disgusting, because they could do it for $200 and give me a good meal instead of stressful, harmful, dangerous thing, and just simply instead of thinking I'm nuts, understand that I'm not. Thank you, good guy. God bless you. Watch all our videos. Thank you.